Hey everyone, Core here again. Thanks for tuning in for another episode of the Five Finger Countdown. And today's five countdown is going to be Thanksgiving movies. Now, it was hard, to say the least, to at least find Thanksgiving movies. I mean, honestly, I only found two that are strictly Thanksgiving movies. A third is probably it's like two and a half, really. But I had to stretch the criteria on these a little bit more, at least for the other two, three movies. I was pretty happy with as being Thanksgiving movies, and I'm pretty sure you'll be happy with that too. And these are movies that are pretty famous and pretty well seen. They're not like these little art house films or flicks or stuff like that. These are movies that were in the theater probably except I think except for one, but they're still a movie. It's longer than an hour, and it feels like a movie. So let's get underway with number five. So my number five pick is Funny People, and if you've seen this movie, you probably wouldn't think it's a Thanksgiving movie, and you'll be technically right on that. But then again, it has a Thanksgiving dinner. It has a few minutes at least that are definitely taking place during the Thanksgiving that aren't just the dinner, and that's what I meant earlier. Where I kind of had to stretch the criteria a little bit. I know the Halloween movies. I was just looking for anything that had to do with Halloween, not so much horror, but just Halloween in general. This is pretty much the same thing, except for this one. I'm pretty much doing anything with a Thanksgiving dinner. That's the minimum requirement at least. A Thanksgiving dinner has to take place in the movie. Yeah, so our number five pick is Funny People, and you'll get a laugh out of it at least if you don't think it's a Thanksgiving movie. Number four, The Blind Side. Once again, I have stretched my criteria for a Thanksgiving movie. This one I felt is a better movie all around than Funny People. That's why it's getting a number four spot. But the scene where that they have Thanksgiving, I kind of want to say it's not as important, but it is still important to at least character development and pushing the story along. It takes place pretty early in the movie. I just enjoyed this movie a lot. It's a good movie. I'm always a sucker for football movies too, and Thanksgiving is kind of known for the football game along with the turkey. So it seems suiting that a football movie that has Thanksgiving in it is a Thanksgiving movie, at least to my criteria of having the Thanksgiving dinner at least somewhere in the movie. So that's why The Blind Side is my number four pick. Number three, Miracle on 34th Street. Now, a lot of you, I'm pretty sure, are gonna think this is a Christmas movie. Why are you having it on a Thanksgiving countdown? Well, I'll tell you why. The whole conflict that starts with this movie is this man in the Thanksgiving Day parade. This movie's a classic, and if you haven't seen it, check your local listings. I'm sure it's airing from now until New Year's Eve, and maybe even beyond that, because it's meant for this holiday season. So if you haven't seen it, look for it. Number two, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. And here's another classic with Steve Martin and John Candy. And I think both of them are in their prime in this one. They just bounce off really well. And it comes off as a great movie. And the whole premise of it is Steve Martin's trying to get home for Thanksgiving. And along the way, he runs into John Candy, and hilarity ensues. And along with that hilarity is a whole bunch of problems that cause this Steve Martin's character to find any means of transportation to get home for his Thanksgiving dinner. Number one, A Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. Now, I'm sure who's ever's watching this probably is thinking, how come I didn't put It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, on my Halloween list? And the reason why is because I forgot. Amazingly enough, I forgot about Charlie Brown. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying it, but I forgot about that classic movie, and for that, that's why I'm putting it's a Charlie Brown's Thanksgiving as my number one here on my Thanksgiving list. And I'm pretty sure you might figure out uh, Charlie Brown Christmas is going to be in my top five for Christmas movies as well. Honestly, I would have probably have put It's a Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown as my number one pick for my Halloween movie set, but honestly, I just forgot about it somehow and ended up just picking other movies besides it, which I guess in its own way is good enough because it shows that I didn't have to rely on having Charlie Brown in my top five to take up one spot because Charlie Brown's pretty infamous for making movies from every holiday season, or at least the major holiday seasons. So, of course, Charlie Brown, Thanksgiving is my number one pick. So there you go. That's my top five countdown of Thanksgiving movies. And a lot of times, I'm pretty leeway on my criteria for movies, especially for this one, Thanksgiving. I mean, two of them were definitely Thanksgiving movies, and the three were a little bit more questionable, but still had aspects to it that would categorize in the Thanksgiving genre. Well, at least my Thanksgiving genre. And I try to pick two. I try to stay to movies that are more that a majority of people have seen or know about at least. Um, that's why often you won't see any like independent films or short films, stuff like that, on my list. I usually stay fairly close to the mainstream, if not on the mainstream, and I I I think it works because it's a general viewing of someone that's just in the world, has sees these movies here and there, and I really think it's an honest opinion. Um, I know I'm just talking about myself, but I hope people that do watch these also think that it's a good list, and these movies are pretty common to at least find to see them on TV, especially during the holiday seasons. So, until next time, see ya.